This is the Jason Verney podcast. I am Jason Verney. It's actually also known as Jason Verney's FLICKS podcast, which is F.L.I.C.K.S. Each letter stands for something. You can look at the description if you want to find out what they are. I have a strong connection with filmmaking, movies, film reviews, South Korea. All those things are in that F.L.I.C.K.S. I also run the micro-budget filmmaking podcast. Had some interviews here in Thailand recently, and also the Not So Korean podcast, but also a very new one I've started called Chiang Mai Chatter. That's not on my YouTube channel, the one that you might be listening to this on. It's on a separate one, but you can find it. You can find it on audio platforms. You can find this on audio platforms. If you're not listening to this on an audio platform, you're most likely listening to it or watching a version of it on YouTube, and it's youtube.com/Jason Verney. With that in mind, actually, that YouTube channel, I just want to mention, because this is a little review of a Thai film, I wanted to talk to you about, briefly, just 3 other reviews that you can find out there on the FLICKS, Jason Verney's FLICKS podcast, but also on my YouTube channel. And that is, I recently reviewed Uranus 2324, that's a Thai film. Breaking the Cycle, which is a Thai documentary. It's a political documentary. And I reviewed the Isan province film Phadam Kam Ai, or it's actually, I think the full title is Phadam Kam Ai, A Cinderella Story. One more thing to note before I get into this is that if you hear some rain, apologies. This is Thailand, this is Chiang Mai, it's the rainy season, and this is my recording space, so I've kind of put this space together. But the reason I'm putting this out now is I've just been to see this film, and tomorrow I head to Korea, South Korea, and there's a good chance therefore that I'll be in South Korea when this episode goes out, or when you hear it. Or I'll be in Phuket, so southern Thailand, or I'll be back in Chiang Mai. I could even be popping to Bangkok, but Chiang Mai is where I'm pretty much based these days. So let's get on with the show and this review. The film is called Paradise of Thorns. The Paradise of Thorns. I can't read this, I can say sometime, but I also know that the original title, I think it is, it's Man Nam. Now, when I read Man Nam, Nam, a certain way of saying Nam is means water. I don't know if that is relating to that, but it's the Thai title, I believe. And according to IMDb, which is the movie database, the international movie database, really, that describes it. It's directed by, now, there's actually 2 names that this person is known as. He's known as Boss Kuno. I guess he's called Boss, or him and his team is Boss. He's the boss of him and his team that make the films, but also known as, I think, Narobat Kuno. And it's written by him. It's written by 2 other people as well. It stars Jeff Satur, and now he also sings at least one song from the film, and Engfa Waraha and Srida Puapimol. There are other characters. It's got quite a big cast, especially for some of its scenes which involve a rocket festival, which is interesting because that film that I mentioned, the Isan province film with the Cinderella story, that also featured a scene, but it also features one of a monk's ordination, where there's lots of people, of course, one of the characters becomes a monk. There's also, talking of scenes with lots of people in, really, there's a huge, because this is related to, but it's not only about, the durian fruit. Now, if you've ever been to Thailand, durian fruit, it has got that terrible smell to it, or at least it's not what people like. Not everybody likes it. It can have a pungent smell, so much so that some hotels or the metro line, BTS line in Bangkok, or even some other establishments will have a sign up saying no durian, like you can't bring it in. It's a big no-no. So yeah, there's a big scene. There's a scene I think it's like the exporting area, or maybe it's the distribution place of where durians are sent. They're also sent to China and other countries, I believe. So, and it's not just within Thailand that durians have a market. They are quite expensive to buy, and that rule, that particular thing comes into play when we see this film, because it's well, not just the imagery, but the characters. You know, they're trying to make money from this durian farm or plantation. So let's start with the look. The look of the film is amazing. The colours are just perfect. They are, well, striking to say the least. And we of course, it's a very green film. You've got greenery, you've got durians, which are kind of a green colour. There's images of chilies drying, which you do see in Asia, not just Southeast Asia. You see similar things in Korea, in South Korea and elsewhere. You know, you see bright red chilies with a green backdrop. And I also think that the director, he likes to use the shots where we're looking in and outside. I mean, we're looking outside, out of a house, into the outer area, the landscape, and also into sort of down into a coffin when one of our characters passes away. That person who passes away, and I don't want to give too much, I don't want to give the spoilers, but it is in the trailer. Somebody does die. It's allegedly, or seemingly, it's the lover of another guy who's our main character, and which is actually the man I mentioned earlier, and that's the guy who also sings. That's Jeff Satur. But there's a relationship between him and him, he and he. And the way I'm laughing is because obviously there's different ways of using pronouns these days, or not just pronouns, just addressing people. And it's worth noting that this talks about gay marriage and being together as gay people. Now, of course, I don't know if you know, but in Thailand, a couple of months ago, made an announcement about gay marriage, a positive announcement. So that's going through the motions at the moment, which would make, I think, Thailand the first country in Southeast Asia as opposed to Asia. That would make them the first country. And it's not really a surprise when you know Thailand's culture. It's a place with, you know, lots of freedom and sexuality or expression with male, females. You've got, you know, tomboys, toms, lesbian, transsexuals. You know, it's a very free country in that way. And it's, you know, it's not really surprising. The film also, I will mention this, it kind of, it does speak well for perhaps people that are old and, you know, maybe going to be put in an old people's home or being looked after. So, back on with the show and the film itself. As I say, it's brightly coloured, it looks amazing, but we're introduced to these characters. And as I say, they're lovers, or they're together, two males, and they have this durian farm. But there's a situation where one of them has put more or certain money into this, and finally the other person, the other man, can see their dreams come true. They've got this plantation. Durians sell very well. They grow very well if you get it right, and that comes up in the film as well. So one of these characters, as I said, this is not a spoiler. I finally come back to that point. But, you know, one of these two does pass away. Now, that is when the issues kind of start, because who really owns this place? Now, there's talk of deeds like, you know, who owns the land, the deeds of the land. There is the mother of the person who's died. There is a kind of not a stepsister, but a non-blood relative who is kind of the daughter of that woman, or the adopted sister of the deceased guy. There's questions around. Well, what happens is throughout this, there's kind of a revenge on. You don't know who's taking. I don't know. You don't really know whose side to be on, and that's brilliant the way it does it. But it's kind of. It feels like a revenge story. And it also says inspired by the inequality. It's the trailer. I remember seeing the trailer. In fact, when I saw this trailer the first time, it was a while ago, and that is why. Oh, so but I don't remember it saying this, but it said something like one of the trailers inspired by the inequality, like the inequality perhaps in the world, or Thailand, or inequality perhaps in somebody's life making the film. I don't know. When I saw the trailer, I really wanted to see this film, not because it's meant to be really good. It's also doing the festival round. It took a lot of money in Thailand. It's doing the festival round internationally, or has been, and still is, I think. And it's, therefore it won't have an international release until all that's done. But I really wanted to see it. But the reason I've only just seen it, just before I go to Korea, because I was so determined to see it. I was not going to leave Thailand to go somewhere else and miss. This is going to run for a couple more weeks at least, I'm sure. And I just didn't want to miss it because there's a lot of Thai films that come out, but some of them just don't interest me, or I don't have time to see them. But this is a different one. This just seemed different, and it had a lot of, I suppose, hype behind it. So back to the characters. So we've got a couple of people that are kind of now wanting this farm, wanting to own it, wanting to profit from it, wanting to become a part of it, really. And there is another character introduced who is a guy who is one of the persons who knows the woman who's the daughter of the unblood related sister of one of this deceased man. He knows her. There's lots of questions come up. There's a potential relationship that develops between him and him again. So with the person who's still living, the Jeff actor, so there's another sort of love kindling going on here for a different guy. There's stories coming out. There's various stories that come out from every different angle. It reminded me a little bit. I saw someone wrote that it could be like a Parasite film, perhaps social issues, or perhaps the way it's done, or perhaps the way it's got the music. The music is maybe, I think I read that it's a bit Parasite-esque with some of its soundtrack. The soundtrack is really good. Lots of original music, and of course one or two songs sung. Where am I going with this? What I'm saying is, people spoke about it like that, but I would have thought in some ways it's more like, because I love Korean films, certain films like A Handmaiden, where you've got different characters but you've got twists. This has got twists in it in a way, and in that respect, and the way it's done, and the way you kind of don't know who to feel for, and there's revenge. It felt a bit like The Handmaiden, and there's a same-sex relationship. If you've ever seen The Handmaiden, which in Korea was called Agassi, only Agassi once. Sorry, I said it twice. That has a lesbian relationship involved in the film, and therefore this is a homosexual relationship. Let's just call it the term that people would call it, queer either way. As I say, it's shot so well, but it's also the night scenes look beautiful, so do the day scenes, and the durians themselves, whether they're ripe or not ready, or they're too small, or they're just right. And there's a durian scene. There's a fight scene, and the use of durian is not only genius, but it's done very well. I mean, the use of it in the fight is something to be admired for filmmaking and story point of view. So it's a really good film, and I'm trying to be vague. I'm trying to not tell you too much about the story, but it's just, well, how can I say? It's got elements of different films that I've seen, but it's truly original. One thing that I would say, perhaps it could be controversial, but It's not just this. I mean, you could say the same about some Hollywood films. I'll back this up by saying that. But in Korean films especially, but, you know, maybe one or more than one of the actors, you know, you can see, I mean, this is the actors, and, you know, maybe they've had their face changed a little bit. I don't like that to detract me from the story, but sometimes it does. And as I say, this is not against Thai films in particular, or Korean films in particular, or Hollywood films, but it does sometimes come to light, and it's even made even more ironic or surreal or it's just made even more strange by the fact that you've got maybe two males that clearly one has had something done, and they are people in the world now are becoming males are looking like females are looking like males, and it's you know, it's just an interesting thing when you've got a film that deals with same sex. Or perhaps, I even thought at one point, is it going to go down the route, I'm not saying it doesn't, of the route of another love element coming in. For example, the woman who also wants the money, the daughter, I'll try to describe her again. Well, the woman, the character who's played by, what's the name? Oh yeah, the woman, the young woman, Engfa Waraha, and she's the half sister, let's call her, of the guy who passed away, but she's also almost the helper and almost the daughter of the mother of the guy that passed away. The woman, by the way, the disabled, I haven't mentioned this yet, she's in a wheelchair a lot of the time, and that wheelchair plays into the story in a heavy way. You know, it comes into play. There's a bit where a motorbike falls over, and that's because she's on the back, the woman, and she can't really stand up. So once she falls off a motorbike, or the motorbike sends her off, then, you know, she can't really do much. That woman, the older woman, that mother, the mother of the deceased, is played by Srida Puapimol. And apologies if I say that really badly. But I'm doing my best here. Yeah, this film is getting a lot of maybe hype in Thailand. I mean, I've spoken to people at the cinema here in Chiang Mai, the one I went to, which was actually in Maya, and, you know, the ones I've spoken to said they love it. I'm not saying everyone does, but I've seen worse Thai films, and this is a lot better. This might be my favourite Thai film for a while, actually. It's original, not just because it's dealing with durian, the fruit, but that is a big thing, but it's just the way it's been shot, the way it's been cut, the way the story it moves, and the clever way that it's been mixed together with the story. The story has been mixed in the fact that it teases you throughout, you know, it keeps you guessing. It keeps you wondering what is going to go on here. There's never a boring moment. You know, it's emotional, and it's, you know, mysterious. And, you know, you've got flowers and durians and all kinds of things that come into play. Maybe there's metaphors in there. There's also the signing of the deeds by more than one person in joint names, so that they can finally say it's theirs, or that person has said it's their deed and they own the place. And all these things. There's a prison scene, I remember that. There's it's really, I mean, I'm trying not to, as I say, I'm trying not to give it away, but at the same time, I'm trying to give you the best, well, my take, but, you know, and well, the best I can, really. It's just, it's just something. I wasn't expecting it to be this good, and I'm not saying that in a negative way. It's just that I didn't. I thought, I'm going to see this before I go. It's going to be good. I mean, maybe the trailer, maybe the things I'd seen, this poignant, you know, it's a poignant film, and it's a bittersweet kind of film, but it's just, as one person I read, one person had written about this, said something like the movie pushed its limits to the fullest, and I think I know what they're saying. It's kind of the story itself is overwhelming. It's the build up, you don't know where it's going to go. You're on, as I said earlier on, you're on somebody's side, then you're on someone else's side, and you really don't know, because somebody wants this farm, this durian farm, and there's another, there's a big market in this, and there's ex-lovers, family, maybe you could say ex-family. Yeah, I'm intrigued to see where this goes with recognition. But the story is amazing, and the cinematography, he knows what he's doing. The film is quite long, it's over 2 hours, but that's not long these days. But it's just, there's a lot of people involved with it. I looked at the sponsors at the end of the film, and also there's the music. It's just, it's really good. And I think that's pretty much what I can say without going into it too much more. And as I say, it's a perfect timing, deliberate or not, for the recent announcement in Thailand, where gay marriage, but this is not just about that. This has strong scenes of, I wouldn't say it has too strong scenes, but quite strong scenes of sexual activity, but not too much. And there's an interesting part where we're talking wheelchair earlier. The woman's no longer in a wheelchair, and her wheelchair is being pushed away by one of the antagonists, I suppose, in the film, and she's left in a basket, which is like a durian basket. This is an old woman, and you do have to wonder, there's no what's the word? There's no sympathy for a lot of these people, these characters, and it's just, it's just something else. So I'll be interesting to. I know. I've just been reading as well that it was at Toronto Film Festival, and that's a big film festival. I don't think it was at Busan last year when I went to Busan International Film Festival. I'm actually going there on this trip to Korea, which I go tomorrow. Busan Film Festival. I'm also, I might as well tell you this, at the end of October, towards the end of October, I'm a jury member. I've been asked to be a jury member, which is the main reason for going to Korea. This is my 11th trip to Korea. I went there in April. I do a lot of work I'm an activist and for certain causes, but also filmmaker, podcaster, journalist, artist, etc. But they wanted me to be a jury member on a Seoul Whistler Film Festival in Seoul, but in Hongdae specifically. So I'm looking forward to going there, but I'm really going to miss Chiang Mai. I'm just feeling I'm a member of a weekly filmmaking group we have here. We're putting together stuff, and back to the film. That sounded like a sponsored advert for me, for my work, but it wasn't, I promise you. This film, it's really good. I wasn't expecting it. If I had time to see it again, I wonder if by the time I get to Phuket, I'm not planning to go to the cinema around Phuket. It's not really that kind of place. Phuket has cinemas, but the place I'm going to be staying isn't really that kind of thing, that kind of place. I was interested at the end that the song that played is called Rain Wedding, or Rain's Wedding, Rain Wedding, and it's by Jeff, the kind of main protagonist, who in the film there's an element of him becoming a monk. That's all I'm going to say, and he does really well. But that song, which was, I think what happened was, it was played at the end of the cinema, and then I managed to figure out which one it was, and it's the same. It's the actress, the actor guy, who's also a singer as well. So, that does happen a lot. That happens a lot with Korean films and Korean dramas, especially. So, do check out my YouTube channel if you've got this far. That's Jason Verney, but it's actually Jason Verney, to say that I'm into Asian stuff too. Asian is like it rhymes with Jason. youtube.com/Jason Verney. But yeah, and if you've listened to it on YouTube, then thanks, and please subscribe if you can. Like the video if it's a video you've watched. If not, do check out that channel anyway, because there's stuff that relates to Thailand more and more now. There's elements from the film festival I attended in Bangkok, the terrifying Thai film festival that I had my film at, as well as a lot of Korean stuff, but more and more I'm leaning towards these Thailand things. And there's a new Thailand vlog, well, I'm calling a Verney log, not a video log, coming your way soon. Okay, yeah, that's it. I wish you all the best, and Kate, if you're in Chiang Mai or Thailand itself, keep dry. There's lots of floods in northern Thailand, Chiang Rai, Mae Sot, Mae Sai, even Taipei Gate here in Chiang Mai just a couple of days ago, and it's raining right now. I really feel for, this situation. Be different when I go to Korea. It's going to be autumnal weather, maybe rain, but I know autumn's there very well. This isn't the first time I've been there, and this is not the first time. This is kind of my third time in 12 months I would have stepped foot in Korea, pretty much, or been on Korean soil, and it's not the first time I've been to Busan International Film Festival either. So looking forward to that as much as I don't want to leave here. Okay, that's it. And as I say, all take care wherever you are. All the best, and Kopa Makra. Thank you very much. See ya.